Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. I am ChiVital, aka King Chi, and I am back with another tool for your toolkits and how to create your lives. Welcome back. I am gonna really dig into this topic of shadow work and some of the gossip in regards to um, whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for you. Um, Really, we need to touch on some of these myths, some of the scary talk. All right, all right. Bring us here. As you tune in, please don't forget to click the like button. That helps with the algorithm. And drop some hearts in the chat. And y'all can give me some hearts in the chat. Y'all know I love the love. And then for all those who were scary, put some skulls in the chat. Go ahead and put some skulls in the chat. Yes. Oh, thank you, Tahuti Faye. I am cozy. I feel absolutely uh snuggled up, snuggled and secured. Not only am I warm, but I am feeling stylish and well preserved. I hope my sister's not watching this. Uh Earlier, I totally was gassed up because someone asked if I was the baby. Shouts out to you, Couscous. And your client that made my day. You know. So what's funny is earlier I was going to introduce to you all a new title. Not a title for the video, but a title for a particular person in this journey or this experience between what is called the battle between light and darkness and all of that. We're going to get into it. Okay. As you see, the title of this video is Unveiling the Dark Lords. I know. Dark Lord. Right. Just stay focused, okay? But unveiling the dark lords, navigating the dangers of shadow work for light workers. Um, I really hope that a lot of self-proclaimed light workers watch this video, and those of you who are fairly new to shadow work, spiritual work outside of the popular religious circles, meaning you're going at spirituality more from guidance from within and then finding teachers that align with some of the messages, right, that you're receiving from within. I really hope that this message is received by you all, especially. It's funny because I am going to discuss those of you who may be watching this and you're totally committed to chaos. And it doesn't make you any difference, right? Because tune in and you'll see why. So, for those of you who are here, let's get into it. All right. So first of all, there is a beautiful beginning to a journey of ascension or evolution that begins with a definite commitment. And there's two commitments. One is what we would call choosing a side in this realm of duality, right? Um, and I will identify the sides not being one of light, one of dark, but one of righteousness and one of evil. I want to put them that way because it really speaks to the truth of the commitment. One who is committed to evil um, has no commitment whatsoever to what is righteous. And righteous in the state of where we are, righteous would mean inclusive of the upliftment of others. Okay. I have to stay away from identifying sides between light and dark because on both sides of spirituality and magic, right, which I want to say magic is applied spirituality, spiritual practices in manipulating um, the material and spiritual realm for desired outcomes. Quote me on that. That's my definition. There is both healing and prosperity and abundance and joy, satisfaction, um, lots of energy in both light and dark work. Okay. So, what I think we can all agree with, and press one if you can agree with this, is that there is a population of beings, humans and otherwise, that are absolutely committed to chaos, destruction, destructive, and evil behaviors. Evil. Okay. And then there are those powers and entities that are committed to a level of righteousness where the ideal is for collective upliftment and awakening of people, okay, healing and such. And I would speak to now the definition of healing being one that brings us to a place of wholeness, that brings us to a place of self actualization, okay? And that's very important because what gets missed by some of the uh, factions of light workers um, is that healing has to be whole and not leave out the parts of us that are not as attractive, not as pleasing. Um, okay. And without including all the parts, it can lend itself very quickly to what evil is and the evil that these particular sections or groups of light workers are afraid of. All right. Just give me a moment. I just want to. Can you all hear the air blowing? Because if you can, I'd like to turn it off. Turn it off. Are we good? Okay. Great. Awesome. So here we are on the journey. And it begins with that commitment. So I said the commitment one of what side you want to be on. And the other commitment comes with a practice. Okay. So it's not enough to say, okay, I want to work towards this being in a place where I can really be a part of the team that is supporting the righteousness, awakening, and evolution of my people. There can't be that without a commitment to a practice. Okay. There also can't be that which you commit to evil and there's no practice either. Okay. So, as much as someone might say, well, I'm evil and I don't care about anyone in the world, blah, 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 they too actually have to commit to certain practices in order to be accepted into those groups that do practice all forms of selfishness, self centeredness, and uh, have no remorse for those who they take advantage of and um, enslave and et cetera, et cetera. All right. So both parties got to work towards what it is that they're committed to um, living as. All right. So, one thing that is common amongst light workers is that most light workers are welcomed by society. Yes or no? One, if it's yes, two, if it's no. Most light workers who identify themselves as of the love and light of the planet and the universe are accepted by most groups. Okay? You walk in the door and you're like smiling and you're like, wow, you're so beautiful. And I just really love the vibration in here. It is just so divine. I feel great. And how can I be of service to you? Like, there aren't very many places where those people are told, you're not welcome here. Okay. Now, on the other side of that, there are people who are not self proclaimed light workers, but they are committed to studying themselves, spirits, the spiritual realm, connecting with the ancestors, finding ways to push through a lot of the hurts and pains that they've gone through, um, you name it. And when they come around, there's more of a chance that they will be pushed away and capped with the titles of the black sheep, they're evil, they practice voodoo, even though they may not be actually practicing voodoo, um, you name it. And so those group of people, they are um, isolated more times from societies that they actually have a desire to connect with, but over time find that it's more painful than healing for them um, as they journey towards actualizing themselves and evolving past the various hurts and trials and tribulations that they've experienced. And then there are those who are absolutely committed to the treachery they can cause to others, sometimes even themselves, right? And they either have no desire to be around other people who are not into that. And so they do not inflict pain upon their egos or their emotional selves by being rejected, because they will only be around people who engage in the same thing for whatever practice they want to practice. And they don't give a hoot. They don't give a damn about anyone else but themselves anyway. Okay. And they're pretty hard up. No one's really trying to be in their space except for the wounded or unhealed individual who has already been shunned. And I will get into why eventually. Okay. Because there is a reason why, as crazy and hurtful or whatever one group of people may be, that still will attract others, um even as much as it seems like what the hell. Okay. Versus that in between group that goes on this journey of their heroine's journey, the hero's journey, or the heroine's journey. All right. So for now, I want you all to don't even concern yourselves with the last group, because they become very important later on in this conversation. Okay. All right. So let's start with you all. Let's start with you all who decide, you know what? I don't want to fake it. I want to genuinely reach a place where I am detached from what everybody else is saying and doing to me, or what I've been through, where I claim my power back. I know who I am, and I choose very frequently how I want to engage and source my energy, to either protect others or do for others or do for myself, like from a real place of empowerment. Okay. I don't want to show up saying everyone looks so beautiful, love and light, and blah, blah, blah. And I can absolutely identify that there are people in this space who have violated me. And there's been no closure there. There's been no reprimand. There's been no type of clearing. Okay. Um, Pardon me. My turtle is telling me something. Okay. All right. I got to take care of her after this immediately. So, pardon the interruption. So, yes. For those of you who decide to go on that journey and want to really, really ante up, you're going to find that you're very uncomfortable at first in these spaces, because if you're not committed to doing the work, the practical work of being on the side of righteousness, and I already identified at the beginning of this video what righteousness is. So if you're late to the party, hold your judgments and rewind so that you can be in alignment, or watch this and then go back. All right. You're going to see that if you're still triggered in these spaces, that there's still work to do. And triggered has different layers, right? There's going to be the trigger of you immediately react, or there's going to be the trigger of you have increased awareness of what is happening, how you feel, and the energy that moves in your body in the presence of energy that is not congruent to yours. And then there's going to be triggers to activate the part of you that can transmute that energy, and then you're fine. You're fine not because you're faking fine, but you're fine because you have reached a place of sovereignty, and you no longer stay in those spaces because they serve no purpose to your commitment. Okay. They're just chipping away to like water dripping in your beautiful sink and rusting it. Okay. And for what? You can just, go where it's not leaky. You don't want to put yourself in places where you're consistently there to the point where you start leaking, right? Okay. And so that's the other thing, that when you are committed to actualizing yourself as a true light worker or true worker of righteousness, then you don't waste your time and energy putting yourselves in places where you are reestablishing pain and hurt and blah blah blah. Okay? And this is the thing. So you make your commitment, and then you make a commitment to a period of practice that will include things like this, right? So a number of days, months, sometimes a year, right? For people going through initiation, can be years of a particular practice where you commit to a certain day number of days of detoxing. Okay, and that can be with food, sex, um, social media, um, phone, television, radio, whatever. Okay, so there's a detox. Okay, detox. Then there's a number of days that you're going to be committed to a meditation. Okay, going into silence and listening deeply. And then you have a commitment to a certain exercise, so physical movement of some form or fashion. Okay, for strengthening your body and loosening it up. And then there is also a commitment to a prayer. So, prayer is not necessarily asking for anything in particular. Um, so, it does not need to be one of begging, but it is prayer. I'm going to identify as a streamline of words that are words of power. Okay, words of empowerment every single day. I don't care if it's your affirmations, your mantra discipline, or a prayer for whatever it is that you want to actualize for yourself or a group of people. All right. But it's consistent, it's the same, and it's over and over. So it can be a zikr, it can be um, an incantation, it can be a panto, it can be a spell, it can be a Lord Jesus, whatever, every single day, right? And over time, what happens is that the energy that is generated from doing that consistently over time by yourself, okay? Everything that I'm saying is going to get magnified when people are added to it. So when there's a group setting and there's a group of people that commit to it, it's just going to be way bigger, right? So just by yourself alone, every single day that you commit to this, commitment means rain, sleet, sunshine, hurricane, tornado, tsunami. You are every single day, right? Earthquake, divorce, giving birth, moving, life's and you just committed, and you're gonna keep on doing your thing every day. That energy is building and building and building and building. Okay, while that energy is building, that spark of light, the energy, the most sought after commodity in the entire galaxy is that energy, is going to begin to radiate further and further and further out into the environment. And as it's radiating out, it is connecting with other sources of energy that match. In between these sources of energy that are matching, there are those in between who are not in a practice, but by your mere commitment of generating that much energy, the radiation assists in awakening those individuals as well. So the radiation that you are building up is not just serving yourself, right? It's not just building yourself. It is now opening up and activating all who are within your bubble, right, of radiation. And then the more people that are around you within your vicinity with that level of commitment, you begin to have an effect on the whole land, the environment. And you just sitting right there in your space, in your house. And it can seem as if it's just you alone going through this transformation. But the reality is that we are connected. So if you notice, if there's a very, very active temple in a neighborhood, the energy is not just felt when you're inside of that temple, but the whole circumference of that block will have a level of calm simply because of the collective awareness and practice within that temple. Right? And so when that light goes off, it's not a, hey, come and get me, but it's as if a new well of oil was found. And whatever energies are committed to siphoning that source, that resource, will recognize that there's a force shifting the people on this planet, waking them up from enslavement, waking them up from wanting to keep putting their energy, their resources, money, their time, their physical labor into a system that keeps them dead. And they're like, WTF? What the heck is that? Now, how can we infiltrate it? How can we infiltrate it? Infiltration is going to come through distraction. Let me get some more likes, y'all. Let me get some more likes. Okay? So, y'all remember that folks who are committed to this light, working, who sice themselves into ignoring the things that upset them in their reality, don't realize that just because they repress these kinds of truths in their lives does not mean that they just disappear. The whole notion that Jesus died for your sins and so all is good is a scapegoat and a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for weak people, because now these people do not put accountability on themselves to do the work, to have discipline in the face of distractions, in the face of traumas, in the face of having to fight. They just say, okay, I'm gonna just give it up. And there comes a point that if you want to be very, very powerful and you genuinely, sincerely put that out into the universe, you have to come across the Dark Lord. What people in the light working community who are not speaking to this piece are setting up genuine individuals who are sincerely wanting to protect the children, wanting to ensure that more of our people are not living in poverty, wanting to live healthy lifestyles. They're not letting them know that running away from a dark lord is asking to never level up. Because the title I'd like to say is that there are dark lords of light. And I said they have to exist in your world to press against every single button that you have in order for you to truly know what you are made of and what you're capable of handling for others when you say you want to be of service to the world. Now let's look at traditional shamanism, okay? Real shamanism. For those of you who are who have trained with shamans, for real, you will notice that there is a consistent experience where life is very, very painful, not just within the ceremony setting, but life itself sets itself up to reveal deep pain points, very low lows, sometimes terminal illnesses that you have to overcome, the loss of people that are very, very dear in your life. And no, this is not some Illuminati. You have to sacrifice your mother and your father in order to get down with the gang. No, this is not that. This is the fact that if you're going to play a strong leadership role as a shaman, as the sorcerer, as royalty, as part of leadership in the government, of those officials that are making decisions and negotiations for us here on this planet, amongst us, amongst them, okay? You have to go through these things and be able to come out on top with immense strength and a stronger sense of self included. So, one red flag that you must be mindful of before you lose your neck is killing your ego. Because what happens, and this is like the master level, right? Because you have shamans who are going to deal with the elements of nature, be able to liaison between the dead and the living, be able to work with the deities here, okay, some of the elemental deities. But then there are these shamans who are at the level where they are legitimately having these conversations and negotiations with the galactic beings, and they are outside of this world. Outside of this world. And their first go to is to psychically or psychologically attack your sense of self by finding what? By finding the pieces of you that you've hidden from your own self, from everyone else, and you don't know how to process it when it's exposed. And what helps you get there? What helps you be able to process those things? Somebody put it in the chat. I haven't even looked at the chat yet. Let me see. Oh, we have a Dark Lord sighting. Hi, T. What is the activity that is going to arm you with the ability to stand in a position of strength and efficacy, okay, that you're effective? Tahuti Faye, Tahuti Faye, Aki Faye. They cheating, they fairies, they be knowing. Shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. See, y'all think that entities are concerned with the junk food eating, sex driven, job slaving, debt craving, reality TV binging, mindless arguing, fighting, overweight, sloppy folks. They are the least. Their greatest gift to any of this is just to be a physical vessel when an entity needs a physical vessel to go and take care of something. They have no real equity. they don't have much energy. And energy is really the commodity. Okay? You feel me? So all that targeting them doesn't really do anything. Doesn't do anything for you, doesn't do anything for the planet, doesn't help you on your journey, none of that. So let's get to the shadow work. All right. And I'll speak to like some of the basic things that are pretty annoying is that, you know, when people who are um, proclaiming to be committed to righteousness get all scary when they see skulls and coffins, um, stuff like that, where those symbols and that work in reality is all of our reality. We all are going to be in those places. That's a fact. So to play like that is the ultimate um, symbol of evil is not only corny, but it's very shallow and very dangerous for people who really are saying they want to work for the good of humanity. Okay? Shadow work. Shadow work is dangerous. So your pastor, whoever who said, shadow work is dangerous, like that part, yeah, sure. Shadow work is dangerous. Is it evil? No. Is it ugly? Yeah. But why is it dangerous? It's dangerous because it's asking you to strengthen the part of yourself to be able to have conversations with areas of yourself that still belong to yourself, that still have a lot of influence over your life, for you to better understand it. So essentially, it's as if you're going to lock yourself in a room with a potential monster. And if you are not equipped with particular instructions, support, guidance, you will find yourself in a room with this monster and eventually consumed and blaming it on the notion that shadow work is essential for you to become whole. There should definitely be a disclaimer, a little asterisk at the end of that. Because true shadow work, it will bring you face to face with the entities created or lodged into your ethereal body, emotional body, your astral body, that are getting a little gross. It will reintroduce those things, but so will opening up an infected wound will reintroduce pain because you have to cut it open, will make it vulnerable because it's open. And then you will have to look at the ugliness of the pus coming out of it, any worms that have decided to nest in there. And you will have to be patient and diligent about keeping it clean every time you clean it and more stuff starts coming up. And so attempting to do shadow work without having a regimen of cleaning physically, cleaning spiritually, cleaning mentally is setting yourself up for disaster. There are so many people who fail at it because once they get reintroduced to some of those entities, they drown in the depression of it. They drown in the trying to run away from it and returning to their vices to try to numb it and make it go away. They drown in reintroducing other means of feeding that wound. And sometimes it looks like that wound is clear, but they've gone in and created other wounds because there's so many connections in different areas. Is it dangerous? Hell yeah. It is. But so is committing to truly being of service to the planet, because as much as a lot of light workers want to hug and love those who are loving or troubled because they were really loving, but someone really hurt them badly and so they need nurturing, the shamans, the officers of uh, wholeness, dark or light, the ones who truly are making ways on this planet for humanity to lift up and awaken in their power are called to the spaces where it is most dangerous. So they got to know how to whoop some ass, physically and otherwise. They got to have a strong sense of self and be able to talk their shit and stick to the plan regardless of what everyone else is saying. Okay? And those are the pieces that people really get rubbed the wrong way or they shrink in that space. But the thing is, if you really want your legacy to survive, if you really want your mission to be fulfilled, you will need to get beyond that. You will need to survive those things. Does that make sense? And if you are honest with yourself, which shadow work requires, if you are honest with yourself, you will know I'm either made to do this on my own, or I definitely need to align myself with a teacher, which is most times the case. It's not a weak thing to align oneself with a teacher when you're honest with yourself that the guidance is necessary in order for you to survive the trials and tribulations. A true teacher is not going to keep you under their hand and spotlight forever. Eventually, you'll be out there on your own too. Okay? witches eat the shamans. Real shamans know how to handle the witches. And I don't mean handle them disrespectfully or, you know, bygones will let bygones be bygones. But super beings recognize other super beings, and if they got to scrap, they're going to scrap. And it's important that the right people are involved in those types of things. A healthy ego knows when it can get its ass beat. An unhealthy ego is going to think that it can take on the world and not incur any injury. So, when someone has a healthy ego and they are very clear about what they are here to do and to accomplish, it is what it is. It cannot be defeated. Okay? The shamans, that smart shamans, stay away from the witches. I'm using the term shaman just for those of you who are not aware. I'm not talking to UT. I'm using the word shamans for those of you who identify like high priestess, shamans, people who have titles in our community to practice healing work, supernatural defense work, exorcisms, and such, for those who are not carrying that title nor have been trained. The other things or people that exist who are beyond certain titles and knowledge are beyond the knowledge of those who don't understand. What's understood does not need explaining. So, from this, I want you to understand that the truth is shadow work is dangerous. I want you to know what you're up against when you decide to commit to powering up. That while I encourage all of you to do it, be aware that when you come across one who is a lord of darkness that may be dressed up in a smile and a beautiful appearance, that is a gift to your journey. And eventually, if you stick with it, you will understand why. Because once you reach a certain level, there is an instance where there is a partnership forged for you to continue on with your work and to keep your space a certain kind of way. And that energy will move on to another project or show up when they're needed on your behalf. Because the definition, just a basic definition of a dark lord is a master of chaos and destruction. Master of it. And these levels of mastery are still awe-inspiring because it's the chaos and the destruction that most people shy away from, but it's still a part of this experience on earth. Destruction is still a very powerful point of being on this earth, right? There is no creation, there is no harmony of things without that part. So when you see, if you're privileged to witness the masterful creation of chaos and management of the chaos, you got to respect it because it also takes a very, very strong commitment, because that same thing that is mastered can destroy that individual as well. Okay? And I said that at 55:55 on my timer. So, anyways, I hope you all enjoy this build. And I hope it answered a lot of questions for some of you who have been a little nervous about things that you experience. I want you to have your takeaways that the darkest parts of yourself, the secrets that you bear, they are the entry points of those who wish to throw you off of your mission. So know yourself, be honest with yourself, spend time with those areas of yourself so that they can't be used against you. And then show appreciation and gratitude for it all every time you survive. Okay? There's more to this. Eventually, in time, you'll get there. But shouts out to the Astral University because this is very important to you all. Very important to you all. Okay? Y'all have any questions? Do you all have any questions? I'm looking through the comments to see if I've missed any questions. Okay. All right, y'all. So it's been good. Peace, love, and bliss. Don't forget to drink your water and mind your business. Later.